Ladies and gentlemen, many of you might remember the story I did last year on the farmers, the black farmers being sold bad seeds. They purposely sabotaged those men so they would not be able to produce a crop. Now, I've even heard from some of these folks talking about they know agriculture, we don't. Who the hell was out in them slave fields, y'all? Who was out in those plantations? Trust me, nobody knows agriculture better than us. Okay, we are the original people to do agriculture in the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, they were sabotaged and they are suing, of course, because they were sold bad seeds and did not have the crop last year that they could have potentially had if they were not sabotaged. And see, these things will always come back on you. When you do evil like that to somebody, it always has a tendency of coming back on your ass. So I also did stories on rural farmers that were having a hard time because their offspring were all strung out on opioids. And if you think the general public can get opioids easy, they can get it even easier on the farms. They got it in bulk. You know, the same medicines that you use to treat humans, you use those same medicines to treat animals. So they had access to opioids, tons and tons and tons of opioids. Why do you think there were people that were purposely injuring their dogs and cats, taking them to the vet? What does the vet prescribe to those injured pets? Opioids. That's why they were doing it. So think about this. They got large farm animals out there. They get injured. They get sick. They give them large quantities of opioids for those farm animals. So their kids ultimately either died from opioid overdose or they are in and out of rehab to the point where they can't even help with the farm. So now these farmers don't have anyone to pass the land down to like they did the generations before. They just kept passing the farmland down. Now you have a serious opioid epidemic. They have no one to pass the farms down to. Their kids are either dead or so strung out they can't take care of it. And this is all over rural America. Now you have a situation with the weather that have completely destroyed any opportunity for these farmers to make money in 2019. They can't even move their product because the river is so swollen. It poses a danger for them to even be out there. So trade in the Midwest has damn near been destroyed this year because of the uncontrollable weather. See, this government can't write policies and laws against the weather. The police can't come out and arrest the weather. You can't call 911 and complain about the weather. So you are completely at the mercy of whether the conditions are good or not. You can't pull out your AR-15 and mass shoot the weather. You can't do none of those things. You know, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, the Most High is still in control. even if these folks are walking around with God complexes and believe they are they are the gods on the earth. He is showing them each and every year they ain't shit compared to him. But some people got to learn the hard way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you listen to the audio from NPR. So this is NPR: Months of Flooding on Mississippi River Marooned Midwest Trade, August 16th, 2019.
Hi, it's Guy Raz here, creator of How I Built This. Every week, I speak with founders behind some of the most inspiring companies and brands in the world. Click listen or add to queue to hear some excerpts from some of our favorite episodes, including Instagram, Carol's Daughter, and Ben & Jerry's. And support for How I Built This comes from our 2019 lead sponsor, Hiscox. Get a quote or buy at hiscox.com. Hiscox, encourage courage.
A lot of agriculture in the Midwest depends on rivers to cheaply move grain and other farm products to market. But this year, high water has already stranded barges on the upper Mississippi River for nearly 3 months, the longest time in recorded history. As part of our series on this wet summer, Illinois Newsroom's Madeline Beck reports on the fallout from these record high river levels.
River barges are enormous. One standard barge holds as much as 58 large semi-trucks, and in early June, about 640 barges floated to a standstill near American Commercial Barge Line's office outside Cairo, Illinois.
That's just me. That's not the other fleets in the area. That's just ACPL.
That's Mark Glab, the facility manager there. His boats push these barges full of salt, grain, fertilizer, and steel up and down the river.
I get 3 or 4 calls a day with people wanting to be able to unload their barges here into trucks or into trains because we can't go on the river until the water goes down. I got plants in Chicago running out of product.
The problem isn't the barges, it's the locks and dams. Locks are the mechanisms that raise or lower a boat to get it through a dam. When river levels are too high, they're not safe to operate, so barges can't get where they need to go. And there's another problem. Barges can't unload in some places where they're stuck. Places like Cairo, Illinois, which doesn't have a port, so goods can't be offloaded onto trains or trucks. This could be a growing problem as water levels trend upwards and barges are kept waiting longer.
The only difference this year is the length of time, but it seems to get worse every year.
Glab says that 75% of recorded river crests at Cairo have happened since the 80s. So high waters could conceivably encourage city planners to try and build more ports to get stranded products off the river. And that could give rural places like Cairo a boost, a town with about 2,000 people, no grocery stores, and no gas stations. Larry Klein heads the Port Authority there and is a fourth-generation Cairo resident.
I've seen it in its heyday, and I see it today. And, well, it hurts. I want to stay around and say that I knew the people that helped get us back on the right track.
While barges and supplies were trapped going upriver, thousands of tons of grain like corn and soybeans were waiting to head downriver to be shipped overseas. And while trucking and rail were an option for some, that's too expensive for most farmers. All they could do was wait. Greg Gunther farms near St. Louis, and he says the river closure costs him in ways that are hard to calculate. Like many others, he still has grain to ship from last year. If grain is stored for too long, its quality drops along with its value. When the Mississippi was flooding, river terminals stopped buying his corn to send downriver.
And that corn sitting in the bin is money that's waiting to be utilized that is drawing no interest. And it's costing you in electricity and everything else to keep it in condition.
Add to those issues low commodity prices, trade challenges, and extremely heavy rains affecting thousands of farmers across the Midwest. Gunther hopes this barge issue increases awareness of needed water infrastructure upgrades long overdue.
If we had a more efficient river transportation system, when these events happened, we finally were able to get going again, it would really make things a lot smoother and cost everybody a lot less money.
While the Mississippi River system does have problems, it also makes U.S. agriculture globally competitive. It's cheaper to ship on water than on land. But that water may become an even harder force to tame as massive rainstorms cause it to peak and flood more often. For NPR News, I'm Madeline Beck in Galesburg, Illinois.
You know, like I said before, y'all, this weather pattern is here to stay. You're going to see this more often. The rainstorms are going to get longer. The heat waves are going to get longer. And this is not going to go away. So every year, the earth is heating up more and the weather is becoming more and more turbulent. You know, hell, right now we're in a heat wave. We're in another heat wave for the next 4 days. Now, yesterday they claimed it was 89 in my area. I have an outdoor thermometer. My outdoor thermometer said 90 yesterday. So, I guess it depends on where you are. Today we're going to hit 92. Tomorrow we're hitting 96. I think we might even be doing 94. I think they upped the temperature. But I know tomorrow I have to be out. I got to take my son to a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and it's going to be 96 tomorrow. So wherever you are, stay cool. And, you know, I'm not surprised about the weather. I think a lot of people just need to prepare yourself that things are never going to be the same on this earth. And you are going to see more floods, more tornadoes, more heat waves, and more snow. It's going to be snowing in places that normally don't get snow. Look, you had Alaska had a record-breaking July. And I was looking at that story today. They went in the 90s. They said July was the hottest month on record for Alaska. It's almost unheard of. And you had a heat wave in Greenland and in the Arctic. I mean, I don't think we would have ever heard about these things years ago. But it is going to become the norm on this planet. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.